Welcome to Southpod, the first and foremost podcast created to tell the true story of tech innovation in the American South. Southpod is hosted by Dig South founder Stanfield Gray and produced by Dig South Tech Media, the South's tech hub. Visit digsouth.com for details and join our membership group at dignation.co. This episode of Southpod features a recording of the program Wild Pitch Wednesday and welcomes Bill Freeman, co-founder of PureSkill.gg.
Hello, Dig Nation. Welcome back to the fall season of Wild Pitch Wednesday, the virtual event where startups present to a live audience of investors, tech executives, entrepreneurs, and Dig Nation members. Dig Nation is the South's tech tribe. Find out more at dignation.co. That's dignation.co. Wild Pitch Wednesday is powered by Dig South, the South's favorite and foremost tech media and events company, and we are sponsored by Oracle for Startups. My name is Stanfield Gray. I'm your host today and the founder and CEO of Dig South. Today, we're joined by Bill Freeman, co-founder and CSO of PureSkill.gg. PureSkill is an automated AI-powered video game coach. It analyzes your gameplay, tells you what you're doing wrong, and how to fix it. This month, PureSkill launched in early access, and their users have uploaded thousands of matches already. Good news about Bill Freeman. Bill has a PhD in physics from the University of California, Riverside, and is a lifelong gamer. Bill began playing Counter-Strike, the first game that PureSkill supports, in 2002 and has been on numerous teams and leagues. He was formerly a data scientist at Lowe's and at Row AI, and is now putting that experience towards helping gamers improve. Now let's introduce our esteemed guest panelists today. Representing Oracle for Startups, the sponsor of our show, we have Nicholas Mancini, a manager in business development of Oracle for Startups, and Winston Lynn, a Charlotte, North Carolina-based investor and advisor at Equator Venture LLC. Welcome to Wild Pitch Wednesday, Winston and Nick. What's happening?
Hey, Stanfield.
Good. So thanks everyone for joining us. Without further ado, let's dive into the show. Please welcome Bill Freeman, co-founder of PureSkill. The stage is yours, Bill. Feel free to share your screen at any time. Take it away, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. Just verifying everybody can see my screen. Looks good. All right. Thank you so much. I also want to add a quick disclaimer that nothing in here is actually a securities offering. This is just, practice kind of pitch. Okay, so PureSkill.gg is an AI-powered coach for gamers. So the gaming industry is a massive $150 billion a year industry with more than 2.5 billion gamers worldwide. And while a lot of this revenue comes from people playing games, a lot of the games are actually free. Many of the most popular ones are. And these games, as well as third parties, make money by selling enhancements to these games. People spend so much time playing that anything that enhances that experience is something worth buying. So people will buy things like customization, they'll unlock new content, or anything that can help them get better. And so many of the most popular games are competitive by nature. And so these are multiplayer games where a good analogy for this type of game is actually something like chess, where you can never beat the game of chess. You can certainly win one match against an opponent, but there's always another opponent to come by. And so in these games, you get a skill-based rank, and the enjoyment really comes from winning and ranking up, increasing your rank to prove that you're better than everybody else. And so you may think that by playing games, you'll win more, you'll rank up. Just by playing, you'll get better. We have seen through numerous complaints online, as well as within our data of thousands and thousands of players, that is just not true. Playing more does not lead you to winning more. And so being stuck at a low rank or low skill tier for thousands of hours is so common that it has a special name amongst gamers, and it's called being stuck in hell. And so our mission is to help get gamers out of hell. So recently there have been a couple of platforms that have popped up where people could hire a coach to help them get better. So Gamer Sensei, Pro Guys, the Legion Farm have all raised some significant capital in the last one or 2 years. And so there's definitely some demand for this kind of coaching. But there are some downsides to having a person do your coaching. And so one is that it's expensive. The best coaches cost upwards of $50 an hour. The feedback that you get comes days or weeks after you finish playing. And this person really only has time to review 1 or 2 matches before they need to move on and review somebody else, or they're just tired of seeing your gameplay. So we're here to offer something better with AI-powered coaching. And so for just $15 a month, we can provide that same level of feedback within minutes, as well as review every single match that you played for an entire month. And so on the next slide, I'm going to show you a demo of our current website. And so I just want to mention that this works. Our system works right now for only the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive, or CSGO. We want to really establish our product market fit here and then move on to new games after that. So I'm playing the video now. After you log in and set up your account, we automatically download your matches and process them. There's no further action needed. As you click on one of your matches, you can see the category scores that we give you in each major sort of gameplay element. As you scroll down, you can see the breakdowns here on the right side of exactly what this player did and like a little bit on how to fix that. And so exactly when that happened in the match as well. For each mistake, we provide the best resource to fix that particular mistake. So you can see a lot of them are YouTube videos that the community has made, or we just write our text ourselves. For every mistake we detect, we also give you details, and these details are custom for that mistake. So it varies based on what we're trying to relay to the user, what they did wrong. And so you can see, like, for economy, we'll list economy information and that kind of thing. So you can also filter by each major category to dive deep into one specific thing. And I want to show you here that each of these details are integrated into our match viewer. So here I'm highlighting that I blinded 2 opponents. And so here's our demo viewer that's in the browser, where you can see me highlighted in green, where my mouse was just circling. And I threw this blue object, which is a flashbang. Our opponents are these blue circles moving around, and the white circle indicates that I was able to blind those opponents and then gotten an elimination here. And our demo viewer, you just click and drag to see the what's happening in a round. And so every piece of advice that we give, we back up with this demo viewer that works in the browser. So the users don't need to go back to the game to verify, oh yeah, I did make a mistake. They can just see it in the browser. And then I'm just showing sort of how fast this actually loads. It works pretty well. Yeah. Cool. So the way that we make money is through a monthly subscription. As a visitor, you sign up, connect your account, and then you're put onto our free tier, where we give you the 2D replay as well as those category scores. And we want to then use that to convert users into a paid tier, where we give them everything. And so it's very similar to a sort of a B2B SaaS sort of financial model. So, yep, in September, we went through a soft launch where we invited users that were on an email waitlist to our early access. And so early access lets users sort of set expectations that a lot of things, may not work correctly. Also that the price is going to increase to our final price point of $15 a month. And so it's sort of sets expectations and allows people to give us feedback and try it out. And so since then, we've gotten 523 users, of which 343 have set up accounts, which is about 65%. We've gotten 30 people to actually pay us money and so that's really exciting. 7 of those have actually been for 2 months now, so they didn't immediately cancel. So it's netting us $185 in revenue. And it was kind of interesting. I did the stats this morning, and it was round numbers of 9,100 matches uploaded with 1,800 in the last 7 days. Upcoming changes, we want to do a better preview, which we've already done. And I think that led to a couple of people actually purchasing it a few days ago. We want to add new designs to help users to actually set up their account to increase that percentage there. We also want to add calls to Discord, where Discord is a chat room where users can give us feedback, talk to us directly, tell us what they want, tell us what isn't working, report bugs, that kind of thing. And so it really creates a community around our product. We're also going to add a progress graph so people can see themselves improving. And then very exciting, we have a free weekend event coming up in 2 weeks. So all of our free tier users can actually get the best preview possible of what we want to offer them. So we hope that that's going to convert a lot of users. We also want to add email engagement for when users subscribe, when they unsubscribe, give them progress reports through there. So our marketing is, I think I have to go pretty fast. I'm running out of time, but we have 3,000 emails on a wait list. We also want to utilize our statistics to do a bit of guerrilla marketing. You're not supposed to, overtly advertise on Reddit, but you can just say, "Oh, look at this plot," which is exactly what we did here, and it was one of the most upvoted of that week. And a few hundred people subscribed to us because of that, or made accounts. We can also do traditional marketing through things like Reddit, and we've gotten some numbers there. But then again, we've paused all of that to do some fixes in the meantime. We also want to add affiliate codes where smaller YouTubers who are really interested in our product we just give them a code. If somebody uses it, then we pay them. If they don't, it was free for us. Our co-founding team of 3 met 8 years ago in grad school. So we have 2 PhDs and a master's in physics. Ethan is a data scientist at Minecraft and Bungie, so he's actually working for gaming companies as a data scientist. I was a data scientist at Lowe's and Row AI. Evan also has a PhD and has been a senior software engineer at Meltwater, helping us build this really robust pipeline, forward thinking. So it's built with new games in mind. It's built with more language support in mind, so that we can add that later easily. So we are looking for pre-seed funding of around 100K. So we already secured 20K of that. Past investment have come from the co-founders, as well as a $10,000 grant from NC Idea, their micro grant. We are semi-finalists for a $50,000 grant from that same organization. We'll find out if we made it to the finalist round this Friday. In the future, we want to expand to new games and really capture as much of this competitive gaming market as possible. So with a very modest, 0.1% adoption, the numbers get pretty big pretty quickly. So with that, thank you for hearing me out today, and please email me if you have any questions or comments.
Should we just go ahead with questions?
Yes. So thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. Excellent presentation. We'll now take questions from Nick and Winston. Feel free to dive in, gentlemen.
I'll just go ahead and start first. So I have two questions that should be kind of flow into each other. So one is, how did you come up with the $15 per month price point? And then 2, I didn't see a roadmap in terms of new features and games integrated and things like that. So if you could point to kind of, maybe what the next 6 months looks like in an ideal world, that'd be great too.
Sure. So $15 a month comes from looking at the prices of other sort of enhancements that gamers will pay for. So, we could look at ESEA and Faceit, which charge $8 to $15 a month. We could look at our competitors like Mobalytics or Mentor.gg that are, around $10 a month. So 15 is on the high end, but we're trying to market ourselves as, being a high quality product that's worth the $15 price point, and that's something that's within a lot of gamers' ability to pay. As far as a roadmap, we submitted a pretty robust roadmap to NC Idea for our seed grant. And so we want to use some of that funding to begin developing our next game, including market research to make the right choice on the next game. And the sort of first step, which is the data process, the data extraction from the replay. So the way we get our data is through a replay file, which is basically a perfect reproduction of what happened in the game. We just need to extract that in a way that we can do data science. And so we need to develop that extraction. And so as far as next game goes, we're looking at late next year as the time scale. As for now, we want to really, for the next 6 months, we want to really secure our product market fit for Counter-Strike, our first product, and get that up and going, have everything working. So it's mostly adding the features that we want, as well as more of this data science. So you can think of that as sort of building it up piece by piece, add more and more features for the data science. You could, if you remember the demo, a lot of those major categories were coming soon. So we want to finish those out in the next 6 months.
Cool. And sorry to interrupt, Winston, but I just had one follow-up question. And you kind of mentioned this, data analytics portion of new games. So is there not a one-size-fits-all data analysis for all of the PC games that you're looking for? Do you have to build custom solutions to be able to consume data and analysis from each game that you're adding? Is it a custom solution per game, or can you build a one-size-fits-all to integrate your next 10 games?
So as far as getting the data out, it depends on the replay format. So for Counter-Strike, they're using .dem files because the game is made by Valve. But Dota will also use the same format. So we can borrow a lot from Counter-Strike for things of the same replay format. But getting out the data is a step that we're now ready to do for the other games. We have our good solution. We know what we want to look for. As far as the actual assessment, some things will translate over, but realistically, a lot of things are very game specific. Okay. And so we need to build, like, for instance, Fortnite has building where you build these big structures, and it's sort of very unique to Fortnite. We can write code that analyzes how good are you at building, and that's unique to Fortnite, but it would be extremely beneficial. That's a critical skill. And so it's really like, how soon can we begin to add value and push this out? So like an early access product for Fortnite may only have how good are you at building, but that adds value that gamers have never been able to get before.
I suck at building at Fortnite. That's why I play. So be valuable.
Okay, so well, thanks for sharing the presentation, Bill. I think the beta itself is very impressive, and you've come a long way since I last saw you guys about a year ago. Well, you mentioned the 30 paid subscribers, and you kept 7 of them into the second month. So my question is, what are the other 23 gamers saying, or what kind of feedback have they given you? Why are they leaving?
Well, it's seven for a second month because some of them haven't had time to be a second month subscriber. So right now it's something like 10 of the eight of them are set to churn. They clicked unsubscribe. The others are, when their time comes, they're going to pay again.
Yeah.
One thing that we noticed is that a lot of the unsubscribes came instantly. It was like they subscribed and then they just immediately unsubscribed.
Right.
So part of us thinks like, okay, yeah, they just want to test it out and decide if they want to resubscribe later. Another thing is that they could have seen the first match, were met with sort of a long loading screen. It does take a few minutes to process a match. So they said, oh, this is just stuck on processing. I'm going to unsubscribe and never come back. So one of the things that we want to do to fix these sort of instant unsubscribes is the email engagement. So, you unsubscribe, please check us out. If they're not viewing it again, like, we have their account connected, so we're still getting all their data. Like, please check us out, double check that you really want to unsubscribe. Another thing is sort of to tell users that they need to upload more matches before they can subscribe. So this gives us upload 3 matches before you can see your data. Realistically, that's to sort of hide the fact that it takes a little while to do the processing. And they also have, if there's an error on one of those, it's unlikely that there would be an error on all 3. So this sort of instant unsubscribe is the biggest issue that we've seen. And it's only been a month, so we're still in the process of actually reaching out and asking them why they're unsubscribing.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly normal to have high churn during a beta test, so that I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think having that process to reach out to them to get feedback, to improve your product, that is crucial. And that's what you should really be focused on before you build new things, right?
Okay.
And I guess the other question I have was that you mentioned two other co-founders. And it sounds like they're fully engaged with their day jobs as well. So as you go into next year, what is the timeline for these founders to be fully committed to the project, or what is the thought process behind building a full-time team?
Right. So yeah, it is everybody's goal to go full-time on this. It's just a matter of the personal finances. So it's either, it looks like, raising enough money to have us go full-time for some time period, or when we have thousands of subscribers and can just self-sustain on the finances. So it's just a matter of when do we have the funding to actually go full-time. My co-founders live in Seattle and San Francisco, so their cost of living is a lot higher than I experience here, which is enabled. I'm in Charlotte, and that has enabled me to go full-time on this with just burning through savings, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, as a follow-up to that, that was kind of where I wanted to point the direction anyway, and it's kind of the topic of community engagement, growth, connecting to your user base. So my first initial question is, so out of Counter-Strike, I know you put the whole total addressable market, which is probably all of the video games that you can eventually integrate, but for just Counter-Strike, how many players are playing that you can get onto the platform in terms of an initial beachhead market?
So we know that there's 24 million active monthly Counter-Strike players.
Okay.
So we our sort of goals come from a few places. It's like, one is like a reasonable percentage of that is sort of a good ceiling to
Language
go
barrier is another one I would assume as
Right.
well for your website.
Right. Yeah. The language barrier for Counter-Strike isn't that big of a deal. 70% are European, actually. So most of the people are English speaking. For a game like Crossfire that has 600 million players, it's almost exclusively in China and the Asian market.
Okay.
So that's
that.
But what
that number, I hear 24 million per month. So you're not going to get to that, but let's say 1%, 2.4 million is at least something to initially target, let's say off the bat. Now you mentioned Discord, which I'm very familiar with Discord and Telegram and Slack, and the usage of kind of those functions for communities and outreach and connecting to the people that are using your product. Have you begun to build a kind of power user community or an initial user community to get them invited in, talking about the application amongst each other, learning, giving feedback to you, participating kind of actively, or are they just simply using the app, maybe giving you feedback, and then they're kind of lost in the nethers, except for an email list on your back end?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a critical number of users that we need to reach in Discord, and we're not quite there yet. I can see this because I'm in all of my competitors' Discords. Like, so right now we have like 200 people in our Discord. Okay. No idea as to how many have muted our Discord and are just there sort of idling. But yeah, eventually we want people to, somebody asks a question and another customer just answers the question, or somebody looking for a game and they actually find teammates to go play in that game. Yeah. So we're I would say that we're not at that point, but we still have 200 users in Discord, and they are coming back and engaging. So we do have a core users coming back and engaging multiple times.
Yeah, my biggest suggestion is, especially for such a community and user by user driven product, is the aspect and the function of community is going to be very core to the growth of your product, especially in a competitive and highly engaged kind of market. I mean, my friends and myself play video games almost nightly, but rarely do I get on and go kind of talk junk outside of our friendly group message. But if I was incentivized to do that, maybe through links to maybe get a free month, or kind of more headers on the website to join the Discord and get me more engaged, then I'd be more likely to give feedback and kind of share it around. And that's kind of that's the big kind of difference maker in terms of the apps that I continue to engage with, is how involved the founders and the early adopters get me in the growth of the product and understanding what's next to come. And then it also can help with crowdfunding. Let's say you don't get the money for a raise that you need by X amount of time, but you've got a couple thousand Discord users. Well, maybe you offer free months to everybody and do a small crowdfund raise to push you for a few months to get some added attributes to then be able to pump back or more progress into the company. So community serves a great function because you create brand ambassadors. You create a connection, you get direct feedback. And then if you needed to go crowdfunding and Reg A kind of style raise, you've got that option and you've got a community around you to at least be able to help initially with the marketing and the outreach. So that's kind of my initial feedback for, growth and thinking about getting more users in.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That all sounds like in line with what we want to do.
Yeah.
We just building out a Discord community is something that we need to work at, and we're actively trying to build that.
I would think about putting that into kind of your marketing plan and thinking about it, because when you're doing low cost, it's all ground and pound guerrilla style, and you're already right with how you need to play Reddit, how you need to play Twitter, all that stuff. But if you put a plan in motion for what I want my Discord to look like for the next 6 months in tandem with my product, you may find a little planning goes a long way.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, what's the thought process behind opening up your platform so other data scientists can write trainer programs as well?
Right. So that was the workshop model that we had thought of, and so, yeah. So the workshop was basically a way for us to crowdsource our data science. So different people have different ways of analyzing the data, and there's tons of people who are interested in gaming. And so what we wanted to do was basically make our data open source and then allow, open source with a non-commercial license, and then allow third-party data scientists to submit an analysis that users could choose between. And so, they maybe don't want PureSkill.gg's economy analysis. They want somebody else's, and somebody else who agrees with the way that they want to play or something like that. So this is a way to get many different options that users can choose from and rate and pay for, and then we just take a pretty standard cut of these. So this was we haven't done too much active work on this since coming up with the plan, but it's a way to beat all of the competitors, because we are able to, rather than hire dozens of data scientists, we just ask them to make this. And so there are a lot of people out there interested and passionate about data science and doing these kinds of projects, such as, just look at Kaggle, the success there for people to try and, win a prize, win $10,000 after spending 2 months on a project, and one person wins it, right? So this is a very compelling, sort of interesting, fun project for data scientists that actually gets their analysis helping people in front of others. So that is one thing, is that people have said, oh, I disagree with the advice given. This gives them another option to get a different perspective on their gameplay.
And
it was
sure. And is there like a group training mode as well that you guys are planning to incorporate? Because I think that could really help with the stickiness of your subscribers too, right? A lot of these games are played in clans with groups of very close-knit friends, like Nick mentioned. And if you guys all train together, well, then everybody has to get a subscription.
Right. Yeah, I think we could have like a community night or something like that. That would be a good idea. It's not something we've done yet, but.
Or a bulk kind of option, just kind of like where instead of buying per seat, you can get 5 seats for 25% off. Because think like there's 4 or 5 guys on the team usually, so if they all kind of sign up to get a Wednesday night trainings, make an event out of it, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's something we can think about, definitely.
What is that 100K that you were raising going towards? So I know it seems like you're kind of the sole kind of full-time guy, and the rest are kind of waiting for, a little bit of more money to come in. Maybe let's call it, some solidness to the company's structure. Are they going to go full time? Is that going to be 50%, salaries, 50%, marketing, and how does all that work?
Right. So some of it goes to developing more, some of the back end. So making our parser faster was a big chunk of that. So there's a few different ways to extract the data. The way that we do it takes 5 minutes. The way that we want to do it takes 15 seconds. And so it's just a big chunk would go to that. Another is just changing up our front end to, so front end developers, so contractors, designers, to help us make the website that we envision. So the missing chunks on our technical side is front end and designer. And then, a lot of it would, some of it would go to marketing as well. We want to get a copywriter to solidify our message universally across the board and across social media, as well as executing a marketing plan with a budget. So
my suggestion at this early stage would be keep marketing as far away from internal team as possible. I've seen marketing get way too ahead of a lot of things and cost too much money. So just be very careful with how you balance marketing versus product, because marketing can sometimes get ahead of where you're currently at and mess some things up. So,
okay, thank you.
So it looks like we have time for one more question, Bill. And I also had one. Do you think that this data could be valuable to the gaming companies themselves? At some point, just when you have a certain volume of regular users, subscribers, is this something you could also sell to the game makers?
I think the data itself it's hard to imagine that the game companies would have less or not do it as well. They have dozens of data scientists on hire. So that it's hard to imagine that our data volume would be something that's appealing to the game developers. What might be interesting is certain techniques that we do that they aren't interested in. So like actually assessing how good somebody is may help lead to, say, finding cheaters.
Right.
So like you're being very good at aiming and being very bad at everything else. Maybe something is suspicious there. So some sort of anti-cheat or anti-abuse techniques might be beneficial to the game developers.
Yeah, one last note. I think the biggest thing, and it's something that I missed whenever my company was trying to build a B2C product, and it's the personal referral aspect. And I know that during the early stages, for revenue, it's always crunch time. How much can we get in the door, and how many users can we get to stick? But sometimes just letting it be free and letting people get incentives later on when it is going to be costly. Like let's say if you refer 5 friends, you'll get 2 free months whenever we increase the price or something like that, or you'll continue to get the $5 a month whenever we increase to 15. That like never discount the organic community growth. And I think if you want to study any company, it would be Zappos. I know they're not in gaming, but customer success and making sure that the customer is wowed and amazed and feeling, very at home, even when they're on the product, was something that they're very good at and something that I like to mirror to a lot of projects that I work with as well. So never discount the feeling of the person who loves what you have to offer, and give them ways to share that within a few clicks. If you can do that correctly, you're already seeing kind of this near growth with a few updates towards the the end of your kind of 1 month launch tenure. But let those people flourish and share and talk and get their friends in as easily as possible. And I think you may find that worthwhile.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Those are good suggestions.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Bill Freeman, for pitching today on Wild Pitch Wednesday. I want to thank our panelists, Winston Lin with Equator Venture, and also thank Nick Mancini of Oracle for Startups. Dig South would like to give a big shout out to our partner, Oracle for Startups, whose mission is to help startups grow and flourish. If you are a member of Dig Nation, a startup of any size in the B2B or B2C tech space and looking for mentorship, access to global customers, and migration and tech support, this is the opportune time to sign up with Oracle's startup program. Oracle is providing an extra $2,000 in free cloud credits to Dig Nation members and guests of Wild Pitch Wednesday. Email info@digsouth.com. That's info@digsouth.com for details. To keep up with tech news in the South and learn more about Dig South's virtual events and memberships, subscribe to our e-news at digsouth.com. To sponsor Wild Pitch Wednesday and other programs, email info@digsouth.com as well. Until next Wednesday, this is Stanfield Gray signing off. It's been a pleasure. See you next week, Dig Nation. Thanks for joining us.